Transmitting to you from Old Heart Radio.
Oh yeah, the strength, the power. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, that's right. Yeah, oh my god, I just gotta warm up my voice. Alright. This, as you know it, is another episode of Coffee and Contemplation. I have not recorded one of these in many moons, as you hot dogs know, but it does not mean I haven't been thinking about you, alright? You delicious, juicy, raw hot dogs, okay? I've been thinking about you. You've been in the back of my mind every single day since the last time I recorded a Coffee and Contemplation. It's true. You know why? Because I'm one of those people that guilts themselves over everything. That's fine, though. That's not what this episode is about. If you read the title of the, podcast, you'd know that we're talking about, thank you for the applause, by the way, mosh pit etiquette and hardcore dance moves, all right? Ooh, I got a Bowie Prince in the studio, by the way. He has a little guest spot. It's so true. He's got his blankie, and I've got my podcast, best of both. Just getting it out of the way, appreciate y'all listening to Old Heart Radio. Find us on Instagram at Old Heart Radio, on Twitter at Old Heart in Space, and look us up on YouTube. Just type in Old Heart Radio, and we'll eventually pop up. That being said, hot dogs, you're fucking amazing, and you guys keep churning out. I love it. I just, it's fun to record these. It's fun to know that people are listening and maybe getting something out of it. But as I said, onto the subject at hand. I don't know if any of you listeners have ever been in a mosh pit. If you haven't, then you have fucked up, in my opinion. Mosh pits are fucking awesome. A mosh pit is crazy, it's unpredictable, and it follows etiquette, alright? Everybody, unless you're a fucking poser, everybody that steps into a mosh pit knows etiquette and holds everybody to it. Why? Because that's how mosh pits work, right? You can't get away with this fucking chaos unless everybody upholds, basic rules and etiquette. So, some basic rules, according to Kerrang.com, I found this and I kind of thought it was decent, is number one, this is most important, if you ask me, it says pick them up when they fall. It means pick people up when they fall over. It's essential, it's easy, it's just something you fucking do. You don't want to shut the concert down because somebody got trampled in the mosh pit, right? You don't want to be the person that gets trampled in the mosh pit. So what do? You reach down and you give the person that's got knocked over a fucking arm up and then you throw them back in, right? That's exactly what you fucking need to do in a mosh. Number two, you don't hold lost items over your head. Or you do hold lost items over your head. I don't know why I said don't. That's like one of those things, like somebody drops a phone, pop that sucker up in the air. So same thing with sunglasses, wallets, shoes, anything, you know what I mean? You just pop that sucker up and hopefully somebody gets eyes on it and sees it and goes, yo, that's mine. Number three, no punching, choking, or general fighting in the mosh pit. All right, if you see somebody bow up and like put their fists up and start swinging at somebody else, that's when you and like three of your other fucking homies in the mosh pit drag that asshole out and throw him the fuck out. None of that in the fucking pit. It's meant to be good energy. It's meant to be like good body on body contact, right? Positive fucking energy. Because there is something that you can get out of the physicality of knocking into somebody else. But you don't want that fucking anger and that aggression of that fucking like asshole who's gonna bow up because you got knocked a little too hard. Well, get the fuck out of the pit, bitch. Number three, don't shove someone into the pit who doesn't want to go, all right? Mosh pits are voluntary. Period. Moving on. Number four, karate gets what karate gets. This is interesting. So you can do like, you can see people getting like spin kicks and like, you know, all sorts of fucking things going on in the mosh pit. But the facts of the matter are, if you're the asshole windmill kicking in the pit, you better be ready to get a windmill kick in the fucking back too. Number 5, don't crowd kill. That means like keep the bystanders on the edge, right? This kind of falls in line with don't put people in that don't want to be in the pit. Don't just continue to grow the pit. Let the pit organically grow by adding other people if it wants. Otherwise, it'll stay where it needs to stay. Number 6, no room for abuse. All right, you got some fucking skinheads in there that are fucking people over. Kick them the fuck out. You got people that are caught groping, maybe. You know what you should do? You should kick them the fuck out of the pit and the venue in general. And if you find them outside the venue, fuck them up then. But no room for that kind of, that, like no room for fucking groping and like inappropriate touching. No room for fucking like direct shout-outs to everybody listening out there. You guys are fucking amazing. Shout-outs to all my homies who are in this old heart radio universe. You guys are fucking awesome. Thank you for giving me something to record. Again, back to that mosh though. Hey baby boy, you're okay. My little baby, my little mascarpone baby boy. That's just me sweet talking Bowie. There's just no room for that shit. And like, you know, people who go to shows with the intent of causing violence or causing like unsolicited advances or touching on other people or whatever, like that's what I'm saying. Like these pit rules are designed to get these people pointed out so that they can be ostracized. All right. Another thing, don't fucking whine about the mosh pit. All right. The mosh pit is what the mosh pit is. It will grow. If it grows, it'll be just 2 people if that's all it's called for. Don't fucking complain about the thing. It is gonna happen at a fucking show. All right. So, basically getting some of those generic rules out of the way, I wanted to touch as well on something that we've mentioned a couple of times on the Under Further Review podcast, which you should check out, another old heart radio podcast. Me and the boys have mentioned a couple of times on their hardcore dancing. We've particularly said a couple of names of hardcore dance moves that hopefully will be brought up later. These hardcore dancing is different than moshing. Okay, moshing is kind of more free form, more chaotic, more it's a little bit more anarchy than hardcore dancing. Hardcore dancing, though I used to throw some of these moves out, I will admit, looks fucking stupid. And honestly, there's not really a lot of room in a mosh pit for hardcore dancing. And most of the times when I've gotten kicked or hit, just kind of being on the edge of a mosh or something, it's by some asshole who's hardcore dancing. Which that's why I stopped liking it, was because you take over. You know what I mean? Like you don't like hardcore dancers or what in the pit don't give room for other people to properly have their fucking mosh. Anyway, so bow throwing. Bow throwing is like the simplest hardcore move. That's just like putting your elbows out, throwing your elbows out. It's easy, it's fun. What people should do around the mosh pit if they don't want to get like knocked into too much or sucked into it. Good etiquette is to just like when somebody approaches or kind of gets close to you, you just put like one elbow or both elbows out in front of your chest to kind of give them like a barrier. Like you don't get closer to the knees. So bow throwing is like essential. But the secondary essential to hardcore dancing is a move called two-stepping. And two-stepping it's basically elbow throwing mixed with running in place. So it's not great. It doesn't look cool, but it is what it is. Another one on the list is the Lawn Mower. So the Lawn Mower is something that everybody's familiar with. I would dare say that Seth Rogen probably overly popularized the Lawn Mower when he made that movie Knocked Up, I believe. And that's when it kind of became too more cheesy than anything else. But obviously, Lawn Mower is like you reaching down, trying to start the lawnmower, right? It's like a disco move, but without the extra flair and finger pointing. All right, the almost essential, I would dare say, pinnacle hardcore dance move is picking up the change. All right, picking up the change is exactly what it sounds like. It's you bent over, and in kind of like a rhythmical move, you're picking pennies off the ground. You're grabbing that shiny quarter right off that pavement, right? You're reaching down to the ground and picking up the change. It's stupid. It's as stupid as the word degen. All right, so now on to some kind of less basic, less standard hardcore dance moves. Something called emo karate. So you got things like the hinge, which is you whipping your arm back and forth in a wide arc, kind of like it's on a hinge. You got the roundhouse, which is basically just a roundhouse kick. Which is also one that is a danger in the pit, man. Like, I've gotten hit by a fucking flying kick too many times, not even wanting to. It's not great. That's why I mean, where there's just no room. The windmill is another pinnacle, if you ask me. It's kind of like a hinge, but you're throwing your arms basically in a big wide circle, instead of just kind of back and forth. Yeah, the windmill is pretty standard. I don't know what the hit and run is, but there's something called a hit and run. That seems strange. There's all sorts of other kinds of dance moves too, that can come with moshing and these various types of thrashing and moshing and whatnot. All of the boys that you at Under Further Review would probably laugh at the word skanking, but it used to be huge with ska and pop punk kids. Skanking it's just kind of moving your feet, really. Again, you got the circle pit, which is the standard, and I would say all pits are kind of circle pits in how they are. They kind of end up in a circular pattern, but like hardcore, open the fucking pit. That's a different story. And then you have, of course, the wall of death, which is as brutal as it sounds. You basically line up on either end and run full body into each other like a fucking medieval battle. All right, dear ladies and gentlemen and hot dogs and everything. All right, this has been a glorious episode, a glorious resurgence of coffee and contemplation, and I promise I'll give you some more. But in the meantime, go out there and use your brains for good, because every day is a great day to ripen up your coconut. Whether it's learning something you don't know or just, growing on something you already do. Just do it. And again, thank you for listening. Old Heart Radio would not grow without the people involved, the people recording, and the people listening. Keep your stick on the ice.